see, Western culture will refer to this as a comic book. It's a self-contained story that's longer than your average comic, but not long enough to have its own expanded plot. And that is what Minato is getting. A story that'll probably fall between 2 and 4 Boruto-sized chapters. So a low-end estimate would say around 80 pages, while a high-end estimate would say around 130 pages. But the beauty of the one-shot is that it comes out all at once, and that is that means that the second that this one-shot is released, we're not waiting for new chapters. The story is opened and closed. This also means that assuming we receive a release date for this one-shot, that there would be 3 full months between this one-shot and the 4 episodes we're getting in September, which is plenty of time to convert the story into an anime format. So what I'm trying to get here seems relatively obvious. The 4 episodes we're going to receive in September are the anime version of the one-shot we'll receive in June. And there's a precedent for this. The end of Naruto is animated light novels. The beginning of Boruto is 3 back-to-back animated light novels. And Boruto lets Sasuke Ninja Scrolls get its own anime run. On top of this, when Sasuke Red Shidan was turned into a manga, the second that the manga was finished, it was animated. While the idea of seeing 4 episodes about Minato might excite you, there's more. See, because in the press statement that Kishimoto made about the release of these 4 episodes in September, he stated that they currently have 4 episodes planned. Not we're going to release 4 episodes in September, we have 4 episodes planned. Now, mind you, this was a couple of weeks ago, probably while Kishimoto was creating the manga for Minato. So you could really take this one of 2 ways. One, this confirms the idea that the Minato one-shot is going to get its own anime adaptation, and by using the terminology of planned, Kishimoto was giving himself more room to possibly write more pages in Minato's story, as if the story got too long, it would spill into 5 or 6 episodes, or the plan has always been to do more. It's a possibility by using the terminology of planned, Kishimoto is saying that we have the story for 4 episodes. While this story could be 4 episodes long, if the public perception is positive enough, it could be more. See, I've already done a half-dozen videos telling you what Viz and Sueisha's plan is in all of this and how they're making that plan a reality. Release a 9-minute video of all of Naruto's best moments animated in 2023's level of animation. That way we can see if the Naruto community still has a pulse. Upon confirming that the Naruto community does in fact still have a pulse, give a manga to the most popular light novel we've ever created, Sasuke Retsudo. Upon seeing that not only does the Naruto community still have a pulse for watching things, but also reading things, especially pertaining to characters who are Boruto, animate that very popular manga to see if the Naruto community comes back and wants to watch stories about people named Boruto. Upon realizing that people will come back to watch stories about people in the Naruto universe, run a poll to see who they really want to see, and then give the winner of that poll a short cute little story. To once again put the final nail in the coffin to see if people who will vote in this poll will come out to read this manga, and then see if people who read this manga will come out episodes. Because positive public perception equals perfect. And that is what this shit has been about forever. Yes, we all understand the Kishimoto. Why is this one shot about Minato creating Rasengan so important? Well, we already know a couple of things about Minato creating Rasengan, and they're all very interesting. Now, Minato got the idea for the creation of the Rasengan from watching an entailed beast bomb. Yeah, that's straight out of the data books. Minato, upon observing the spherical power of a tailed beast bomb, the level of destruction it launched, decided, I could make one of those and create the Rasengan. It's always been popular in the pieces with people, because when and where would Minato seen a tailed beast bomb? I mean, obviously Minato saw tailed beast bombs in the fiction of the War, and the late but Minato created the Rasengan when he was young. The youngest to ever create a jutsu outside of Kakashi created a jutsu accidentally, which would mean that Minato would have had to see the tailed beast bomb before Naruto was born for the formation of the War. Obviously, now while one could say that Minato maybe saw tailed beast bomb during the formation of the War, that doesn't make sense either, because he knows how to use the Rasengan during the Third Great Shinobi World War. Also, as he's told the Data to me that sometimes, prior to the Third Great Shinobi World War, Minato would have to see a tailed beast bomb used. But Minato, so far as we know, didn't fight in the Second Great Shinobi World War. He wasn't older, unless he was. See, this is the reason people want Minato to get a manga series, because the telling of his story would elucidate the Second and Third Great Shinobi World Wars, 2 of the most important historical events in the history of Naruto. But consider the fact that Jiraiya was barely old enough to be battling in the Second Great Shinobi World War, it's hard to believe that Minato was out there, especially when you consider the fact that Jiraiya wasn't formed until Jiraiya returned from raising the Ame Mountain 3 years after the Second Great Shinobi War, which would imply that Minato wasn't even a genin during the the Second Great Shinobi World War. So somehow, between the Second and Third Great Shinobi World War, Minato had to see a Bijou Bomb, which really only leaves us with one possible situation. He saw it from Kurama. Since there was no wars going on, Minato wouldn't be in a situation where he could see a tailed beast bomb go off, at least from any other tailed beast that wasn't Kurama, as Kurama is the only tailed beast in Konoha, which would imply that in order to see a tailed beast bomb, he would have to see it from either Mito Uzumaki or Kushina. And the most likely situation we're going to see is Kurama being transferred from Mito to Kushina. Now, we fully understand that tailed beasts can be pulled out of somebody, and it's canonical knowledge that Mito Uzumaki has Kurama pulled out of her at some point and continues to live on for about a decade, which means that Kushina acquiring Kurama didn't require Mito's death, which is important because Mito dying would release Kurama's chakra and then he would reappear somewhere, which would be a possible situation in which Minato could have seen a tailed beast bomb. But since we know how he was passed off, it's a possibility that we're going to see the passing of Kurama between Mito and Kushina kind of go awry. And in this fumbled handoff, Kurama either tries to or does put a tailed beast bomb, which serves as the inspiration for Minato creating the Rasengan. On top of that being really the only way that Minato could see a tailed beast bomb, it also lines up with the of when Minato created the Rasengan. So the other thing that we know about Minato creating the Rasengan is that it took him 3 years.
Delta code maximizes potential tech connections, with every mile automatically accounted for.
Plus it earns interest with over 70,000 Capital One 360 check. Click that button to make the easiest decision in the history of decisions.
And then another 6 months to match, and we know that Minato taught the Rasengan to Kurama. And then came back to the showed off to Minato, who was roughly 19 at the time, and I'll explain why I know that. And he has activated the Rasengan that took Minato 4 years to get. And it seems that Minato was bragging about the fact that he was the Rasengan faster than Minato. To go further beyond that, we know that Minato was seen was promoted to be a sensei at 19, the youngest to ever do it. And then the scene becomes Minato at 18 because Minato getting begging Minato is just 19 years old. Now we assume that it took Jiraiya 1 day to master the Rasengan, which implies that he started creating the Rasengan when he was around 15. Now mind you, if we're talking about right now, adult coming to all the sport movies, so it's back on here, it lines up with the timeline, so I'm going to use it. But if we assume that Minato didn't show Jiraiya the Rasengan immediately, which isn't crazy considering the fact that at this time Jiraiya was outside of the village, I estimate that Minato began trying to create the Rasengan when he was around 11 years old. He completed creation at 14.5-ish. Then sprinkle in a year and a half there for Minato and Jiraiya to cross paths again, and Minato would teach him. Why am I talking about these ages of a prosecuting lawyer of a statutory case? Well, because this story is about Minato creating the Rasengan, which would mean that if we pin down exactly what we believe Minato started creating the Rasengan, we'll be able to figure out how old he is on this one shot. Now, why is that? How old was Naruto with his manga? How old was Boruto with his manga? The answer is 11 or 12. So it's interesting to me that Minato's manga is starting with him at the same age that his son and his grandson received their own. And that the story of Minato creating the Rasengan possibly has had an influence on his future wife, Uzumaki. Not only kickstart the story of Minato as a genius, but also start the ball rolling on one of the cutest romantic stories in all of Naruto. Now, while unfortunately starting Minato's story this late would completely miss the Second Great Shinobi World War, if Naruto manga and anime have taught us anything, it's that you can always go backwards. Need a new character who is influenced by the Second Great Shinobi World War? Here's their backstory, and then boom, I get lore. So what am I driving at here? Well, first and foremost, I was correct in the facts that I said that Kishimoto wasn't counting votes, but instead creating the manga so they could get it in a proper release date. Feel as though I deserve credit on that one. But secondly, that my estimation of when we're getting this release of the one-shot manga is suspiciously close to the 4 episodes we're getting, which we've heard nothing about. Plot-wise, at least. What we have heard about these 4 episodes is that they're tentatively placed at 4, meaning that there's a possibility of continuation. And to take it even one step further beyond that, we know what this one-shot manga is going to be about. And using our massive knowledge of Naruto timelines, we understand that Minato will be roughly the same age as both Naruto and Boruto when their respective mangas began. So, will the Minato manga one-shot be a beginning of Minato previous generations? Who knows? But it's starting to look like yes. What do you guys think? What are your your major takeaways from all this news? Tell me in the comments below. Because it down there, please. For me. Like this video, subscribe to the page. Hit the notification. God, it feels so good to be right.
Dr. Z, you're such dry, sensitive skin. So does my mom. Try using all free clear and spray your family laundry routine.
To whom it may concern, I'm applying for the position of data analyst, and I recently completed a Google career certificate. I have a passion for building things and solving problems. One of the things I love about data is that it tells a story. And it's my job to figure out what that story is. Thanks to my Google career certificate, I've completed real projects in SQL and our program. I look forward to working with you.
Put your skills to work with a Google career certificate.
This video is sponsored by Gigatech Gaming. So today we'll be going through every single Zanpakuto throughout the entire series of Bleach. Extended Universe Zanpakuto such as Can't Fear Your Own World and Spirits Are Forever With You will be included. Anime filler arc Zanpakutos will not be included. Each sword will be ranked on a basis of power, overall versatility, and the amount of other Zanpakuto that outright counter or just override them in general. With all that being said, it's obvious your favorite Zanpakuto may not fall where you want it to. So keep in mind, putting personal bias aside, this was the most fair and honest ranking that could have possibly been done. All reasons for where certain swords will be ranked and why are thoroughly explained. So without further ado, all disclaimers and introductions aside, let's just get right into this. Thank you for watching. Leave a like if you enjoy and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. But first, have you ever thought about building a monster gaming PC that gives you the most up-to-date graphics and greatest performance, and then halfway through realize you have no idea how to build one and completely give up? Me too. But now, there's Gigatech Gaming, an awesome company that will build your brand new PC for you with fully customizable parts, 24/7 tech support, as well as full stress testing and driver pre-install it. So that way, when you get your PC shipped with the ultra-fast 2 to 3 day shipping, by the way, it's a small, super easy setup before you're ready to get gaming with premium components. Gigatech Gaming's products are competitively priced, built by industry pros, and offer complete transparency with their product, as well as a free 30-day return policy. With a build fee costing only $99. If you want that awesome next-gen gaming experience, but have absolutely no idea where to start, check the link in the description and see what awesome solutions Gigatech Gaming offers you for your problem. Gigatech for sponsoring. Back to the video. So right off the bat, Zanpakuto, although are shown on the screen or in a menu, and may even be given a release command, do absolutely nothing at all due to the Shinigami being eviscerated on site, or just re-indicate these 5 Zanpakuto are, with no particular order, Ozan, Hatakage, Chujin, Nogari Bue, and Kimiko. And these all fall in our great category of embarrassing entries. Moving on to the actual list. Itezumo is a Sonic or Tetsu Zanpakuto. Used only once, its Shikai commands in front and turns the blade into some form of tri-sword. Its actual Shikai ability is unknown, unclear whether it even actually has one or not. But it's clearly enough to get Asane to captain level and it's passive, so we can at least keep it out of the embarrassing entries. Alright guys? Hakyoken is the sacred ceremonial blade passed down by the Issei family, and is technically the now Issei Zanpakuto. The sword's one and only purpose is to disperse the power of a god. Conveniently, the one thing Kyoraku needed to defeat Lil Baro. Although defeating one of the strongest Sternritter while in its holy form, it is ultimately a bladeless ritual tool, and other than the exact situation it was used in, has no real utility. The sword was sealed within Kyoraku's Zanpakuto. Hisagomaru is the Zanpakuto of Hanataro Yamada. Being a member of the 4th Division, the Zanpakuto mostly revolves around healing. Upon contact, Hisagomaru causes friend or foe to regenerate, as red smoke emits from any healing injuries. A gauge of sorts is lined along the length of the blade, and once full, enables Hanataro use of his Shikai ability, named Shuiro Hisagomaru, released by the command Fulfill. It shrinks the Zanpakuto into a scalpel, which, although deceivingly tiny, is capable of unleashing a massive energy blast, comparable to a hollow Cero in attack power. This blast is generated using all of the pain it has absorbed from healing. It remains an unreliable and terrible choice in battle-like settings, despite its power, which results in its drastically low ranking. The Zanpakuto of 2nd Division Lieutenant Mauricio Omaida. Higetsuboru's release command is Crush. When in Shikai form, blade shapeshifts into an oversized spike ball with a long chain at the end. But just like its wielder Omaida, it's really only worth as far as you can throw it. But it's at least one of the first Zanpakuto on the list with some kind of utility in battle besides just being a sword.
Your go-to adventure starts from Mesa. Discover not competitive. An RV or adventure van makes it possible. Start your road at Mesa.
The ABCs of CKD. A is for awareness, because knowing that your chronic kidney disease and type 2 diabetes could progress to dialysis is important. B is for belief that there may be more you can do. Just remember that K is for kidneys and Corendia. For adults living with CKD and type 2 diabetes, Corendia is proven to reduce the risk of kidney failure, which can lead to dialysis. Corendia is a once-daily tablet that treats CKD differently than type 2 diabetes medications to help slow the progression of kidney damage and reduce the risk of cardiovascular events, such as heart attacks. Do not take or take certain medications like CYP3A4 inhibitors. Corendia can cause hyperkalemia, which is high potassium levels in your blood. Ask your doctor before taking products for sodium potassium. Corendia can also cause low blood pressure and low sodium levels. So now that you know your ABCs, remember K is for kidneys. And if you need help slowing kidney damage, ask your doctor about Corendia.
The Zanpakuto of Yori Sarugaki. The sword, upon hearing its release command, Chop Clean, transforms into a giant serrated cleaver. With no special abilities to note, it doesn't even look that cool, to be honest, but could probably chop a giant spike ball in half. The Zanpakuto of Squad 5 Vice Captain Momo Hinamori. When given the release command, Snap, the blade grows a light red handle with a 5-petal flower design being stamped on her suba. Being a fire-based Zanpakuto, Moriyume releases fireballs that explode on impact, an ability that almost any other Shinigami can replicate with a simple Kido technique. It does seem like the Zanpakuto is capable of growing stronger, as after Aizen's defeat, the sword has since grown a 3rd prong, but it's unknown if this actually means anything. A Zanpakuto crafted by the creator of the entire Aosachi method itself, Oetsu Namaya. Sayafushi was deemed a failed creation, although being said to never chip or scratch from usage. The blade is supposedly too sharp and having too smooth of an edge, according to Oetsu. Because of this, the sword can never be sheathed. Despite all of the self-deprecation, the sword was able to take out the entire Schutzstaffel, the elite guard of the Quincy King. You know, before the thing, it is not known whether it has a Shikai or a Bankai. Because of this, its overall strength is entirely dependent on the wielder itself, which is what causes it to fall entirely in such a low category of rank. However, its resume compared to the swords below it definitely need to be acknowledged. Jirogo and Kanzakai Zanpakuto as 4th feet of the 7th Division. Sunzaki Narasu Shikai converts the sword into a myriad of spiraling pinwheel wings, released by the command Blackwell. Jirogo can control each of these spinning wheels with his mind, all moving faster than the human eye. These pinwheels are also in unlimited supply, as Jirogo is capable of recreating them by resheathing and drawing his blade. These blades can unfortunately be easily destroyed by enemy projectiles, such as Soul Society Furyu's Holy Arrow, making this a great concept on paper, but in practice, not as practical as it sounds. Haguro Tambo, the Zanpakuto of the Enchi-loving and possibly producing captain of the 8th Division, Lisa Yamaharu, with the Shikai commands Smash. The sword is merged with Sheep and transformed into a long polearm, fitted with an exceptional blade at one end and a heavy ball at the other. The shape of the weapon allows it to be wielded like an axe, while the weighted side can be used to crush or slam into opponents. The Zanpakuto's Bankai is unknown, which, seeing the kind of media this woman consumes on an almost constant basis, the inner machinations of such a mind should perhaps stay hidden. Its Shikai transformation does at least give it a versatility in battle not yet seen so far. Wabisuke is owned by Lieutenant of the 3rd Division Izuru Kira. With the release command, Raise Your Head, Wabisuke loses its curve and straightens out where the average katana should end, forming the shape of a hook with a cutting edge on the inside. The sword Shikai is meant to depict the role of an executioner. The Zanpakuto's main ability doubles the weight of anything it touches. For example, upon contact with the blade, an opponent that weighs 10 pounds will increase to 20, metaphysically at least. After enough strikes, an enemy will become completely immobile, unable to even lift their bodies from the floor. It makes the victims almost seem like they're falling to their knees and begging for forgiveness. And this is where Wabisuke's shape fulfills its ultimate purpose. The user can then slip the blade under an opponent's throat, decapitating them under the massive weight of their actions. In the most recent chapter for the Hell Arc, Kira is also shown to be able to double the weight of his own body parts in order to crush enemies under the weight of his limbs. Although purely melee-based, its utility in close quarters combat can't be denied. Everyone's favorite replacement Shinigami for Karakura Town, Tsuchinamazu, is Zenosuke Kurumadani Zanpakuto. When released with the command, Good Morning, Tsuchinamazu takes the shape of a wind and fire wheel. When slammed into the ground, the Zanpakuto is able to create a fissure in a significant portion of the earth, then using all the projected debris as spikes that impale enemies. Tsuchinamazu has also been depicted manipulating the debris in order to create a cage of land that traps an opponent within. Possessed by the visored Love Aikawa. When using the command Crush Down, Tengumaru becomes a massive black kanabo, a metal club grafted with spikes on all sides. Besides its giant size and attack power, the Zanpakuto Shikai is also able to manipulate fire to a small extent. Its Bankai has yet to be revealed though, which means it sits down here with the other regions.
Today, we live in an exciting data revolution where technology is rapidly changing the way we work and live. At Albion Cloud, we are at the forefront of this digital shift as a leading global cloud provider and the #1 cloud solution in Europe and serving customers worldwide. We offer a complete portfolio of cloud solutions with total compliance to industry and open source standards. Together, we are change makers.
There's no way through this.
Tachibana is the late Kaien Shiba Zanpakuto, only shown once being used for Kaien's memory by Espada No. 9 Aroniro Harurure. Tachibana, when released into Shikai by the command Surge, Water, and Heaven, becomes an elongated spear shaped like a trumpet. The end of the weapon spirals off in a screw-like shape and has water flowing freely out of both ends. The Zanpakuto's release revolves completely around the manipulation of water. Its strength compared to being hit with the force of a crashing wave. It has much utility as a powerful elemental Zanpakuto, but without any additional abilities and the lack of a bonfire, its achievements in the grand scheme of the series remain pretty low. The quote-unquote Zanpakuto of Yachiru Kusagishi seems to not have any release command whatsoever. Sanko Kenju in Shikai form manifests two hostile creatures that fight alongside Yachiru. When Yachiru attacks, the two creatures mimic her movements. The small creature attacking just before the actual hit, and the larger one striking directly after. This tactic makes it extremely difficult to dodge the user's moves. And the massive damage that Zanpakuto is capable of also creates deep fissures to be carved into the ground. Its utility makes it a much more viable option for battle than most other entries before. Wielded by the captain of the 13th Division, Jushiro Ukitake, Sogyo no Kotowari is one of the very rare dual-blade Zanpakuto that exists in Soul Society. Released with the command, all ye waves become my shield, all ye thunder become my blade. Ukitake takes his blade in both hands and splits it in two. The two swords are then connected by a red rope at the base of the hilts. The Shikai's ability absorbs any incoming attack with its left sword and then transfers that energy through the rope that binds the two swords, amplifying the attack of both power and speed as it passes through each of the 5 charms aligned on the rope. All that energy is then fired back out of the right blade in full force. At such a rate, it is not only hard to dodge, but as if the attack itself is from the Zanpakuto, which serves to confuse opponents on what the Shikai's ability actually is. In video games, Ukitake is shown being able to wield the elements of both water and lightning with his Zanpakuto. I can only assume these were liberties taken by the game developers based off of Ukitake's actual verbal release command, as he is never shown to do any of these attacks in the canonical series. Because Sogyo no Kotowari's main power isn't revealed until late in the series, but its Shikai and appearance is. When building a fighting game character, they took waves and thunder literally, it seems. Zanpakuto, a vice captain of the 11th Division, Ikaku Madarame, released with the command Grow. Like Lisa Yadomaru, Hozukimaru's full release is achieved with the fusion of Ikaku's katana and its sheath, elongating like a spear. Hozukimaru's Shikai resembles a Japanese Kikuchi Yari. What separates Hozukimaru from other simple weapon-changing Zanpakuto is its secondary command, Split Apart, which breaks Hozukimaru into its true form, a 3-section staff. While in this shape, the chains extend at a decent length, allowing for long-range attacks and much more flexibility in combat. Its major distinguishing feature that pushes it higher up on the list is the fact Ikaku has actually evolved Hozukimaru into its Bankai state, Ryomon Hozukimaru. In Bankai, the Zanpakuto now takes the shape of a huge cylindrical weight held up on Ikaku's shoulders, chained up to the 2 main blades, one resembling a Chinese monk's spade and a guandao for the other. Unlike other Bankai, Ryomon Hozukimaru starts off slow and does not gain its full power until dragging the fight out for a considerable length of time, enough to fill up the dragon crest on its back with Ryatsu. Despite being a strong and durable weapon, a step above most lieutenants, Hozukimaru falls short in competitive play due to its slow start ability. Hinako is the Zanpakuto of 10th Division Vice Captain Rangiku Matsumoto. With the release command of Growl, Hinako disperses into a cloud of ash that is capable of completely surrounding a horde of opponents. Anywhere her ash has landed, Rangiku is able to cut, as if her sword was present everywhere all at once. Similar to the much higher-ranked Zanpakuto, Senbon Zakura, Rangiku is able to control where the small ash blades move, ultimately tending to envelop and tear her enemy to shreds. The attack strength of Hinako cuts, depending on how much ash is in contact with it, just as much of an offensive Zanpakuto as it is a defensive. With Rangiku still attached to the lower Bankai, it keeps this potential powerhouse down in the ranks.
Were you recently injured in a car accident? For this chapter, if you're looking to get money or owed for an injury, I want you to imagine you were getting money, because I know a way that you can. Now, before you think I'm crazy, I want to show you how you can get the money that you're owed in the next 30 days. Now, if you thought about hiring a attorney before, but you didn't because you were unsure, or you had reservations, well, it's not your fault. You were probably given no guidance, and you couldn't get a straight answer out of anyone about how much money you actually need. I want you to capitalize on the limited opportunities. I can have you cashing out a massive check in the next 30 days. This opportunity won't last long, and it's perfect for anybody who's been in a car accident in the last 2 years. If you still think it's impossible, I'm willing to guarantee that by clicking on the link below and filling out the 15-second quiz, you'll get a free case evaluation from one of the best attorneys in your area. As long as you are not currently working with an attorney, we're confident that our team will help you get the money you deserve in as little as the next time.
Ichigo's dad, Isshin Shiba Zanpakuto was released with the command Burn. Although the blade remains unchanged, flames become cloaked around it and begin streaming off of the sword. Despite simple flame manipulation, it seems the Zanpakuto is also capable of converting Ishin's own blood into attack power, showing transforming Ishin's blood that is spit onto the blade into a large energy blast that slams into the opponent. The sword can also get a massive amount of spiritual energy and unleash it in one large shockwave, a technique known as the Getsuga Tensho. However, despite that one similarity with Zangetsu, it would seem the Bankai is completely different, as although we never see it, it's mentioned by both Aizen Sosuke and Ishin himself that heavy injuries prevent him from properly using the Bankai, meaning he can never activate it in a critical moment, which, frankly, really keeps the Zanpakuto down. The Zanpakuto of former 7th Division Captain Sajin Komamura, released with the command Roar. The blade remains unchanged when in Shikai. Instead, Tenkin can create different phantom body parts of an armored giant spirit. When slashing the sword, these disembodied limbs will follow the motions. Clearly, much larger and more powerful than any Shinigami, the Phantom can inflict a much larger amount of damage than the user themselves. Tenkin's Bankai is merely the full realization of the Zanpakuto's Shikai release. Named Kokujo Tengen Myo, the Bankai summons the entire spirit, enormous and clad in armor. Around 100 meters tall and looking just like a samurai, the attack power compared to Tenkin's Shikai is vastly amplified and increased, as well as fast enough to accurately mimic all of the user's movement to a T, regardless of their size difference. Kokujo Tengen Myo's downside is the powerful bond that is shared between its user and the spirit. Any pain or harm that is inflicted onto the Bankai is transferred over to the user, which means it inversely opens a massive vulnerability in the user's defenses. This is close to what keeps it below other Zanpakuto, despite its attack potential. Thanks to Sajin Komamura's humanization, a process used by the werewolf clan that allows the beast to casticize their heart in exchange for immortality. As long as Komamura is human, he is incapable of dying. This feature of invulnerability also transfers over to his Bankai, known now as Kokujo Tengen Myo Dangai-jo. This new mode causes the giant to shed its armor, revealing the demonic appearance underneath. The giant is composed of nothing but pure rage, completely invulnerable to any and all attacks. While removing the major weak point of Komamura's Bankai entirely, instead, humanization just makes him a dog for the rest of your life. At least he wounded Sandietta just for someone else to end up taking around. Zabimaru is the Zanpakuto's 6th Division Vice Captain Renji Ibarra. After the command POW, the blade transforms into a 6-piece segmented blade capable of multiplying almost without limit, allowing for long-range extension, making Zabimaru's utility more like a whip rather than an actual sword. When the segments of the blade are broken or detached from the hilt, Renji has used the ability Higa Zeko, which allows him to manipulate the disconnected pieces and attack an opponent in a final desperation move from all directions. In the case of Zabimaru's Bankai, it actually has 2 separate forms. Zabimaru's initial false Bankai that Renji starts out with is known as Hihiro Zabimaru. When first calling out to his Zanpakuto spirit, Zabimaru did not respect or recognize Renji's strength. Imagine that. In this fake Bankai, Renji's Zanpakuto increases in size and manifests into a skeletal snake-like form. Hihiro Zabimaru consists of many more segments, all now held together by Renji's Ryatsu, which encourages much more fluid movement. The large snakehead at the end is its focal attack point. It can also fire a dense blast of concentrated reishi from its mouth. This is, for all intents and purposes, a more evolved version of his Shikai though. Once Renji meets Ichibei Hyosube during the 1,000-Year Blood War and discovers his Bankai's true name, Renji proves himself to Zabimaru, who allows him to wield the final release, Bankai Soo Zabimaru. Like the original Bankai, Renji is cloaked in jungle garb, with a gauntlet on his right hand that resembles a snake skull. A spinal cord-looking tail is also wrapped around Renji's waist. The Zanpakuto's blade can be extended from the snake gauntlet's mouth at will. In this new form, Renji gains new abilities, such as Hihiro. The monkey guard becomes a large skeletal arm that can extend and cause considerable damage with its massive strength. The tail wrapped around his waist can also stretch out, causing the blade to become more serrated with the technique Orochio, and as a finisher, the attack Zaga Teppo, where after Renji impales an opponent, a giant jaw of spiritual energy forms behind him and the opponent before smacking down and crushing the enemy. This technique is powerful enough to reduce a target's actions. Originally a very low entry, Zabumaru's true Bankai is undeniably capable of immense power and presents the user a myriad of opportunities to win against an opponent compared to the false spot. Although, compared to other Zanpakuto on this list, there are others that massively outweigh it in durability, power, versatility.
Potential tax deductions. Uncovered deductions. Semester tax savings this year.
Where's Birdie now?
Our lives are trash.
Playing out of board games and drinks. We're friends. Help each other out. We work well together.
Is the Zanpakuto of 11th Division 3rd Seed Yumichika Ayashikawa, with a Zanpakuto spirit built truly to match the owner. The main personality traits of both wielder and sword keep Yui-Iro Hujaku from achieving its full potential due to Yumichika refusing to call it by its proper name. Insultingly called Fuji Hujaku and released at the command of Balloon, the false Shikai takes the form of a sickle-shaped blade. It is only once the 3rd Seed officer swallows his pride and properly announces his Zanpakuto correctly, as Yui-Iro Hujaku with the Shikai command Split and DB unleashes its true power. Fully released, the sword transforms into a myriad of glowing peacock feather-length tentacles, seeking to pursue and ensnare the opponent. Once trapped, they absorb all trace of Ryatsu from any victims. The stolen energy then becomes small buds that, when fully grown, are able to seriously incapacitate or completely eliminate the opponent. On the flip side, allies are also able to use these buds to heal and recover in relation to the amount of Ryatsu that was absorbed. Yumichika keeps Zanpakuto's main ability a secret due to it being Kido-based and wanting to stay in the no Kido allowed 11th Division. Except, unlike Ikaku, it's actually a scary threat to be hit with, especially when you're least expecting it from such a fodder character. The Zanpakuto of Captain of the Stealth Force and 2nd Division, Soifong, Suzumebashi, upon being released with Sting all enemies to death, glows white and shrinks down to form a black and gold gauntlet, similar to an assassin's weapon. A permanent stinger-like blade is fitted onto the user's middle finger, meant to resemble a hornet. Although small, Suzumebachi still has a great utility as a melee weapon. The Shikai's main power revolves around its death in 2 steps ability. Upon one single stab of Suzumebachi, the victim is branded with a black flower crest where the wound is located, becoming the target of Soifong's next attack. If struck a second time, the venom released by Suzumebachi's puncture wounds will inevitably unalive the victim, eradicating their body from the inside out. The time frame of which varies depending on the overall Ryatsu difference between the opponent and the wielder. Suzumebachi's Bankai is named Jakuho Raikobin. The Zanpakuto now grows to a size that completely envelops Soifong's arm, taking the appearance of a gold-armored missile launcher. When first used against Baragon, Soifong wrapped a heavy metal sash around the building she stood on to reduce the recoil, preferring not to use her Bankai due to it being a disgrace as her status as a covert ops agent. When fully locked onto its target, Jakuho Raikobin releases a large missile that tracks the enemy before erupting in a massive explosion after it strikes. The strength of the blast was strong enough to crack the Shiju no Saimon, a barrier Kido formed from 4 other powerful barrier Kido produced by Hachigen Yushoda, as well as heavily enterable Hollow King Baragon Uzuman and Sternritter K.E.G. While Suzumebachi's Shikai is pretty much guaranteed victory, if dealing with an agile enough opponent, the second strike can be hard to pin down. The Bankai is also cumbersome and needs specific preparation to be used efficiently. This keeps this special entry where it is on the list. Literally, the game becomes more stronger, in my opinion. The The Zanpakuto of First Division Vice Captain Sasakime Chojuro Ganryomaru's shoot liability is unfortunately unknown, although it is released with the command Pierce. It is assumed the Zanpakuto's first release will be a lesser or weaker version of the Bankai. Besides being immediately dumped on by Ichigo in the first show, its Bankai is much more memorable and terrifying. Although Ganryo Rikyu, the Zanpakuto's Bankai, was strong enough to scar Captain Commander Shigekuni Yamamoto's forehead, raising the sword above his head, dark clouds form above the user as the weather bends to their will, spreading into a dome of lightning that begin to create colors around it. Received cues from Driscoll Birchie, the weather can be used to shoot lightning bolts from the clouds directly onto your enemies. But properly well, Chojuro is able to gesture the lightning killers with his blade and fuse his sword with the lightning. This specific form of usage was responsible for injuring Yamamoto.
Red Hat Enterprise Linux lines can continue to grow and further establish Red Hat Enterprise Linux as a connector, not just in our portfolio, but into the enterprise IT world.
Boh, ma che mannaggia. Get out of here. You don't deserve it. Look at that. I was bolting. I was bolting. Let me try to break the streak. I don't know what you thought was going to be good,